Alright lads, gather round because today's video is packed with clues, movement behind the scenes, and maybe, just maybe, a glimpse into the man who's about to take charge at Rangers. Now officially, the line coming out of Ibrox is that the process is ongoing. Standard stuff, But anyone who's followed football long enough knows that when the public message is vague, the real action's happening quietly in the background. And one of those quiet moments just screamed a whole lot louder than the club probably intended. On Tuesday morning, Leon Balogun posted online that he hasn't been offered a contract extension. At first glance, you might think, alright players, out of contract, no renewal, these things happen. But dig a little deeper, and this might be a signpost pointing straight to who's already pulling strings behind the curtain. Because the real question here is simple: who decided not to keep Balogun? Now, the easy shout is Kevin Thelwell, the incoming sporting director. He's already said to be hands-on despite not officially stepping into his role until next month. But, come on, let's use a bit of football logic here. No director of football with half a brain would start making major squad decisions, especially letting go of an experienced defender like Balogun, without serious input from the guy who's going to be managing these players next season. That would be absolutely mental. Imagine bringing in a new boss and he turns around and says, wait, you let Balogun go, I wanted him in my plans. You just don't take that kind of risk. So what does that tell us? That Thelwell isn't acting alone. He's likely already speaking, planning, maybe even working directly with the new gaffer, which means the club's far deeper into this hiring process than they're letting on. And if decisions like Balogun's departure are already being executed, then the announcement of the new manager must be just around the corner. Now, let's add another piece to this puzzle. Barry Ferguson. Just last week, there were genuine murmurings that he could be in line for the full-time job. He'd been in talks with Thelwell and CEO Patrick Stewart, and the vibe was that he had a real chance of staying on. But then, boom! Soon as the final whistle blew against Hibs on Saturday, it was all over. No thank you, no maybe later. Just a clean break. No more Barry. That kind of swift, no-nonsense decision doesn't happen unless the club already knows who's walking through the door. There's no way they cut ties that quickly without a plan locked in. It's not like they're going to gamble. Pre-season preparations on a delayed hire. They've got to have someone already in place, or at least verbally committed. Now, let's talk names. Steven Gerrard's been swirling around the rumor mill again. Some fans would welcome him back with open arms, others not so much. Then there's Davide Ancelotti, the name that never really went away, always lingering in the background. Alongside him, we've seen names like Russell Martin, Gary O'Neill, Rob Edwards, and of course Sean Dyche, who has that Everton connection with Thelwell. But here's the thing, if it was any of them, if it was Gerrard, Dyche, O'Neill, Martin, they're all currently out of work. Free agents. So why the delay? If Rangers had chosen one of them, the deal could have been done last week. Press conference. Photo at Ibrox, scarf above the head, the lot. So what's the holdup? Unless, and here's where things get really interesting, unless it's someone who hasn't been mentioned yet, someone who's already been talking to Thelwell, someone who's already had a say in Balogun's exit, someone who might still be working elsewhere and needs to wrap things up before the official unveiling. And that would explain a lot. It would explain the quietness, the precision, the sudden decisions like letting Barry Ferguson go and not offering Balogun a new deal. It would mean that behind closed doors, Rangers have already mapped out their next steps. They know who's taking the team into preseason. The strategy is in motion. It's the classic Rangers way. Silent but decisive. Nothing leaks until it's ready. No unnecessary drama, no fanfare until it's locked in. But for those of us reading between the lines, all signs suggest the new boss isn't just on the way, he's already working. Maybe not in title, maybe not in public, but the influence is already there. And listen, if you follow Rangers long enough, you know that this kind of calculated movement usually means something big is brewing. A new era could be starting, and it's being stitched together piece by piece before our eyes. Quietly, but with purpose. And it's that silence that tells the loudest story. Because if there's one thing we know about Rangers in recent years, it's that when things start moving, they move fast and clean. No mess, no dithering. That's what's starting to feel like is happening now. You don't cut off a player like Balogun, who, by the way, was a real asset when Fit brought leadership presence and had the respect of the dressing room, without Someone already pulling together the bigger picture. And you don't pull the plug on Barry Ferguson's interim role that swiftly unless you've already made your move elsewhere. It's too sharp, too clinical to be a club still figuring things out. And what makes this all even more compelling is how tight-lipped everyone's being. Normally, in a situation like this, you'd get the usual names flying about, agents calling the media leaks from here, and they're trying to stir the pot. But this time it's different. There's no big noise. It's almost like everyone who needs to know already knows. That's not how things go when you're genuinely undecided. That's how things go when the decision's made, but not yet ready for the stage. Now let's revisit the idea that it might be someone currently employed. That's a very real possibility. We're talking about a name that hasn't been chucked around by the press yet. Somebody low profile to the media, but high impact in the footballing world. Maybe it's someone with a club still wrapping up their season. Maybe it's someone who's agreed in principle, but still finishing contractual obligations. Whatever. It would explain the delays, the moves being made. In the meantime, the planning already taking shape. And let's not forget that Kevin Thelwell isn't here to mess about. He's come in with a brief to modernize, to reshape this squad, and to bring a long-term footballing identity back to Ibrox. He's not here to patch holes or make safe bets. This is a man who built youth pathways at Wolves, who worked under pressure in the Premier League, who knows what sustainable structure looks like, so he won't be going for a stopgap. He won't be going for nostalgia or comfort picks. This appointment, whoever it is going to reflect the future of Rangers under this new regime. And if Thelwell is already involved in calls like the Balogun exit, it suggests that not only is the manager known internally, but that the work between sporting director and head coach is already underway. That synergy is crucial. You can't rebuild a club the size of Rangers unless those two roles are in perfect sync. The days of managers having complete control over signings are over. It's about collaboration now. And this decision on Balogun feels like a first visible sign that those conversations are happening daily. And think about what that means for the rest of the squad. Balogun might be just the first domino. There will be others. Contracts, renewals, exits. These are decisions that don't get made in isolation. So if those wheels are turning, then the blueprint for next season is already on the table. The manager, whoever he is already shaping the dressing room. Whether it's a young progressive coach with tactical nuance or an experienced figure looking to bring stability, that profile is already impacting decisions. And here's where we might need to reframe how we think about the names involved. Because if it was going to be one of the obvious ones, say Gerrard or Dyche, this would all be public already. There's no reason to delay a Gerrard announcement. He knows the club, knows the league, and the fans would react immediately. But the silence tells us this is something different. This isn't a rerun, it's a reboot. Maybe we're looking at a continental name, someone from outside the British game. Someone who doesn't carry the baggage of familiarity, but brings something fresh, something bold. And that would be exactly in line with what Thelwell might want to implement. A new system, a new identity, and a structure that's built on more than just tradition. Because tradition will always be there at Rangers, it's stitched into the club's soul. But success today demands evolution. And the thing about continental managers, those who've worked in Germany, Spain, even Scandinavia, or the Low Countries, is that they often come in quietly. They don't arrive with massive media hype. They arrive with ideas, with philosophies, with blueprints. Think about Philippe Clement's arrival, quiet, methodical, and then impactful. That kind of appointment doesn't get leaked 3 weeks in advance. It gets done behind closed doors and announced when all the pieces are ready. That's what this feels like. The pieces are being moved on the board and each movement tells us something. Balogun out, Ferguson done, Thelwell making early calls. All while the club remains silent. It's the silence that speaks. And let's be clear, whoever is coming in is walking into one of the biggest jobs in football. This is Rangers, the weight, the history, the demands. They're enormous. But that also makes it an opportunity like no other, a chance to lead a club back to domestic dominance, to challenge in Europe, to leave a legacy. So it makes sense that the club is being deliberate, that they're not rushing. They know what's at stake. And look, fans might be impatient. That's natural. You want clarity. You want to know who's taking training, who's plotting preseason, who's going to rebuild the squad. But just because we haven't heard the name yet doesn't mean the work isn't happening. In fact, it's probably the opposite, the quieter. It gets the more work is getting done. That's how the modern game operates now. Behind closed doors, with precision, with strategy. And if this manager is already giving input, already having conversations with Thelwell, then he's not just planning signings, he's building culture. That's what modern football clubs need. Not just someone to set up a 4-3 on the weekend, but someone who can bring a philosophy, a mentality, a way of working that trickles down through the academy, the training ground, even the scouting network. That's what this hire needs to be about. Because let's not kid ourselves, Celtic aren't standing still. They're going to strengthen. They'll be back with more firepower next season. So Rangers need more than just a manager. They need a leader, a visionary. And that's what this whole operation feels like it's aiming for. Not just plugging a gap, but laying foundations. So as we sit here waiting for the announcement, watching every detail, remember this, the clues are already out there. Balogun's farewell wasn't just a goodbye. It was a signal. Ferguson's departure wasn't just a footnote. It was a step. The silence. That's the sound of something serious being built. And when the name finally drops, it won't be out of nowhere. It'll be the name that's already been guiding the plan from the shadows. And we'll all look back and realize it was there all along. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. In a bold move that has sent shockwaves through the world of football, David Beckham, the former Manchester United and England icon, has officially purchased Rangers Football Club. The announcement came early this morning, and already the streets surrounding Ibrox are buzzing with excitement, curiosity, and speculation. Known as one of the most iconic figures in world football, Beckham brings not just his legendary status, but also his growing business acumen to the Glasgow Giants. Having successfully launched Inter Miami CF in Major League Soccer and established a reputation as a savvy operator off the pitch, Beckham's acquisition of Rangers signals his most ambitious move yet. The deal, rumored to be worth several £100 million, includes full ownership of the club and a commitment to invest in infrastructure, player development, and community outreach. Speaking from London, Beckham expressed his admiration for the club's rich history and passionate fan base. Rangers is a club with tradition, pride, and a spirit that reminds me why I fell in love with the game, he said. This is not just a business venture. This is a footballing mission. Reaction among Rangers supporters has been overwhelmingly positive, with many hopeful that Beckham's arrival will usher in a new golden age for the club. After years of financial turmoil, boardroom instability, and fierce battles with arch rivals Celtic, Beckham's entry offers a fresh start and a return to ambition. On the pitch, questions already swirl regarding what changes may come. Will the former Galactico look to bring star power to Ibrox? Could we see international talent drawn to the Scottish Premiership by Beckham's name alone? Insiders suggest he may already be eyeing a managerial reshuffle and enhanced scouting operations. While skeptics raise concerns about foreign ownership and its long-term intentions, few can deny the buzz Beckham has brought to Scottish football overnight. For Rangers, this marks more than just a change in ownership. It's a statement of global ambition, a signal that Ibrox aims to shine not only in Scotland, but on the European stage once more. As the Union Jack flooded above Ibrox today, it wasn't just a wind of change blowing. It was the arrival of David Beckham, and with him, a dream reborn. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.